authority on Frank Serpico, the New York detective who nearly got murdered by his own folks for exposing corruption in the New York City police force. Okay? I have no authority on him. And what I know about him is chiefly from the movie made, from the novel that I couldn't read. I tried to read that novel, and for some reason I did not like the style of the writer. You know, I couldn't read it. Now, what does the movie show me? It shows me that Serpico was trying to get help from a journalist to expose corruption that he found was clearly all around him. And the more he went to that journalist, the more trouble he was getting, because his enemy was aware that he was going to this journalist, and the journalist was trying to act on his behalf, and these folks were aware of it. So the journalist wasn't able to do anything, and the long wait was now becoming a major problem for Serpico, right? The tensions are building, his enemy's increasing its opposition in everything to do with Serpico, right? And the more he's up against a gigantic enemy, right? He's alone. And so what's happening? The longer the wait, the worse for Serpico, right? He's already in a dangerous profession, right? Undercover policeman. And his own folks are now going to be abandoning him the way you would suppose Uriah, the husband of Bathsheba, gets abandoned, right? He's fighting in the battle, and his compatriots withdraw around him when he's in a dangerous spot, and he gets killed by the enemy. They withdraw when they're supposed to help him, and he gets killed, of course, right? Well, that kind of thing happens to Serpico, right? It's even worse. Serpico gets set up. If you look at the movie, the scene where Serpico gets shot in the head, it's all clearly a setup by his own folks to have him killed. And you read later, if the movie is not enough, where those policemen are not even moving forward to help him when he's been shot, you just leave him there to bleed to death. Well, when you read later, at a place like Wikipedia or wherever, that those police didn't even call for emergency help for Serpico. He's shot in the head. They didn't even call for an ambulance. Who called for the ambulance? A man in that building. A man apparently lived or worked in that building, and he called. Otherwise, Serpico would have died as planned. He called. So, what was the big problem there? The weight involved when Serpico had come out against his huge enemy that could crush him, right? And he's not getting a response, and he's being allowed to get overwhelmed, right? And that's what happened to him. Now, he survived, but if you take seriously what he said, he always wanted to be a policeman. This was his ideal, like, even more than, like, being a writer, right? My ideal was to get to my ideal woman. That's the best way I can say it. That was been my ideal in life, from earliest consciousness, okay? And, you know, being a writer, I figured, could get me there. But let's say that Serpico's ideal was not to get to an ideal woman or anything of the kind. It was to be a shining knight in the police force of New York City. He wanted to be that. That was his ideal. Well, he wasn't able to do that. He was almost killed, and he lived most of his life in Europe in, I guess, what was called the Witness Protection Program. And from what it looks like to an outsider like me, he didn't have much of a happy life. And he's now back in the United States, according to what I've read. He's in his 80s, so he may have passed away already. He's near passing away, and came back to the United States after all those years. And what kind of life he didn't have the life he wanted. He wanted to be that knight in the New York police force. He wanted to be that. He wasn't able to do it. And he almost died as a young man in the midst of trying to be who he really wanted to be in his life. So he's definitely a victim, and he's not a success story in any way. He just is. Now, I could go on about him, but the main point I wanted to make was that wait. He went to that journalist for help, and the journalist, even though probably was trying to help him as hard as he could, was getting tied up by the enemy too. And he was getting countered, and he wasn't able to help. And so the long wait exposed Serpico to danger after danger after danger, to an overwhelmingly strong enemy, and Serpico almost died as a result. Now, what's happening to me? I am now aware of my enemy as I never was before. So now the enemy knows that, and I thought that I was going to get help from this person on the other side of the earth, right? So what's happened? The enemy has made sure that that person does not get to me, and I do not get to that person. The enemy's taking care to make sure that it doesn't happen, because that would empower me incredibly against this enemy. So they say, no to that. We're going to stop that, and they've stopped it. Now, have they stopped it forever, or are we going to get through to each other? I don't know, but I'm at a turning point here, because if this goes on taking so long, I can't continue to believe in this. I cannot. I got to let it go. For my own safety and safety of my family, I do. I got the example of Serpico there. I'm up against an overwhelming enemy. I just can't stand still here. I cannot do it. I'm a sitting duck. The way Serpico is, I can't allow that. It's very discouraging to me. This thing could go on, and there's no woman at all. She doesn't show up. Maybe because she's trying to, like that journalist was trying to help Serpico. He couldn't do it. And she may be trying to help me, and she can't do it. The enemy we're up against is overwhelmingly strong. So, those are my thoughts. And I'm praying to the Lord for help in this, right? And I'm remembering how the first time I prayed to the Lord for anything was when I was under those 2 years of agony from 1982 to 1984. And now I was about halfway through, a little over halfway through the 2 years. I was finding it unbearable to go on. I can't do this. It was unbearable, minute by minute. So I had been in this for over a year, and now I'm imploring the Lord one day in the summer of 1983. I'm imploring him. I'm saying, for the first time ever, I'm asking God for something. I had never asked God for anything in prayer. Never. Would you help me on this test? Would you help me win this race? Never. I never asked God for anything. Certainly I never asked Jesus Christ for anything. He was not God to me, okay? Now I was asking, in my mind I was saying, God, would you please stop this pain? Would you please stop the pain? Please, please, God, please. And I'm walking aimlessly from one room to another room in my parents' house in pain like this all day long, every day. And now I'm saying to the Lord, would you please stop the pain? This is the first time I ever asked God for anything that day. Well, he did not stop the pain. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Oh, it was so horrible. So the pain went on for like another 8 months. And for the first time ever, I did think about killing myself to stop the pain, but I then decided against that. I said, no, I'm not going to kill myself, even with the pain. And not long after I came to that decision, even though I was still on fire in pain, suddenly, within like a day, it went away. It was miraculous. You would think that pain like that would gradually lessen up like this, but like in a single day, it went away. And I was saying, what is this? The pain is gone. I remember it was evening, one evening, around this time of year, in 1984. And I was marveling. I said, there was an earthquake around that time where I felt the tremors. I'm not saying that that's miraculous, the earthquake. I'm just saying I remember that happening because I had never felt tremors like that ever before in my life. And it was in that very room in my parents' house. And I was in that room when those tremors occurred and felt them. Like that from an earthquake. Well, I'm not sure if that was after the pain went away or before, but it was around that time, and miraculously, it was one evening I said, hey, it looks like the pain is gone. My wife just brought me dinner, okay? Now, let me show you. This is a beautiful dinner, look at this. What's astounding to me about this is, while our son was growing up, I love my wife, but I'm just saying this is astounding that every single night, my wife bitched relentlessly about having to cook. And I swear to God, it was every night, and now I'm not hearing a word. She never made dinners that even looked like this in the past. And also, I used to help cook the dinners. I did. I would cook fish in the microwave, perch. I went to the store with her. We like this. The sign is we're always together when I'm home from work. We went together. We shopped together. Everything we did together. And that was great. I liked that. And so, I bought the things with her, the perch, the chicken legs, chicken thighs and all. And I would cook them in the microwave to help cook for dinner. I would make soups, fish soups, chicken soups. I'd made all kinds of things. I cooked things on the stove. I helped with dinner. But every single night, it was relentless bitching. And very hard to take. Now, I accepted it, because my wife doesn't like to cook. I didn't particularly like it either, but I'm just amazed now that somehow I'm getting these dinners now, and I'm saying, what? How did this happen? Anyway, I got to eat my dinner. I wanted to make the point that this long wait that Serpico had really got him killed. And way back when, in 1982, when I had no money, no transportation, no support, no help, no friends, no nothing, couldn't get a job and so on, the wait then killed me. The wait then killed me, so I know already not to wait around for this woman to show up. I already know I'm not to do that. So I've tried to bring this thing to a kind of climax by the kind of communications I've been putting out there for her, to try to bring this thing to a climax. Are you going to show up or not? Because I can't wait anymore. Yeah, I've waited over 3 years for you. I've tried with all my might to get through to you. But if we don't meet up, it's not enough for me that I'm getting secret communications of this kind of note. I can't wait. I'm gonna be dead. I cannot do it. So there's my comments on that. I'm not gonna wait much longer for this meeting. I don't want to sound disrespectful. Sorry. Look at I look like